Hi, good evening. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Victor Sunday. Today I want to take you through the Billings ovulation method. This is a very exciting and interesting topic that it is very controversial to many. And at the same time, we have many assumptions regarding this particular method to the point many they doubt about this method. Every time they hear about B.O.M, they always associate it with the calendar or the rhythm method. But today, I want we discuss in details about what is Billings ovulation method for us to be able to use this particular method with confidence. Billings ovulation method is not the calendar method, nor the rhythm method or the old safe method. And it does not involve the use of pills, condoms, withdrawals, or any other barrier, as these are forms of artificial family planning. With the B.O.M, it teaches a woman on how to recognize in her own body one sign, which it tells her clearly and without doubt that her ovulation is coming soon. What is that sign? That sign is now the mucus sign. Through this sign, a woman can be able to avail itself either to achieve or to postpone pregnancy as they wish with the husband. Also, they can use B.O.M to pre-select the sex of a baby if it is necessary. Once a woman is able with confidence to recognize or identify the time of ovulation and understand its significance, then she is under control of her combined fertility. We must also appreciate the significance of the calendar method that it played in the evolution of the Billings ovulation method, because it was through the calendar method that Dr. John's Billing developed, or he did his thorough scientific research on that method to come up with the B.O.M. One of the limitation or two or three is with the calendar method, women with irregular or short cycle, they could not or they cannot use this method, the calendar method. It is disadvantage to them. Also, through scientific research, it has been found also several factors can affect or delay ovulation, thus interfering with the counting of days. Stress, lactation or breastfeeding, changing of weather, even those who initially had used the calendar method with confidence for some years, they might end up being disappointed because the reproductive system of a woman is not constant. It has its own lifespan. As a woman ages, also her reproductive system, some of its characteristics, they change. Now, with the calendar method, it will be difficult for a woman to be able to recognize these signs. But with the B.O.M, which it is a daily based method that a woman can be able to tell when she is fertile or not. Uh, it will be fair or justice when we talk about billing to mention the scientists whom this particular method came through. Uh, Let me share these are the great men. Today you are indebted to them. Thousands of men and women, we are indebted to these people here. Dr. Evelyn Billings, Dr. Jones Billings, Professor Eric Odeblad, Professor James Brown. They had put their faith in love to come up with this method. Originally, there was a doctor known as Dr. Edward. They had observed the significance of the mucus symptoms, but they did not advance further to find the significance or the value of that mucus symptoms. It was through the research of Dr. John Billings that he did a thorough research on this mucus sign, that he was able to full potential unveil the importance and get to the world, that through his research he was able to discover the mucus sign of ovulation as a sole indicator of the combined fertility of husband and wife. How credible, how great it was. Dr. James Brown, or Professor James Brown, for him, he had studied the panel of hormones that he was able to correlate in the different phases of a woman's cycle. Now, with Professor Eric Odeblade, who originally he was not part of the Billings ovulation method team, he had done his own scientific research on the structure and functions of the cervix, and even finding the functions of different types of cervical mucus, the role that they will play. Later on, through other session, we shall be able to see how what we call mucus, cervical mucus, its role in this method we call the billing method. With Evelyn, who was Billing's wife, she also played a great role. We will also be able to see. Now, the research began in 1953 in Australia, and the ongoing research has confirmed the validity of this safe, effective, and reliable method. The independent trials have reported effectiveness of greater than 99% when the method's guidelines were followed for the postponement of pregnancy. This research was done in two countries, that is China and India. In China, the research was done in 992 women. Out of these 992 women, only 3 got pregnant, used this method, but consciously they knew they were breaking the rules deliberately. Now, when it came to India, around 64,000 women went through this research, and out of 64,000, only 1.9% women they got pregnant. Also, the report that came, they did it deliberately. Now, having briefly described what B.O.M is, we can see in summary that Billings ovulation method, it helps a woman in identifying the infertile and fertile phases of a woman's cycle. A woman's cycle that we call menstruation cycle, it begins from the first day of bleeding until the next day of bleeding. And for that cycle, for that whole cycle, a woman has like 3 to 4 phases. For a woman with short phase, with a short cycle, less than, let's say, 25, she has 3 phases. That is menstruation phase, where the woman bleeds, and then we have infertile phase, the beginning of infertility, that is relative infertile phase. Then the third phase is fertile phase, that change until the beginning of, I've said, the infertile phase, it begins from the change, from unchanging pattern, followed by the fertile phase where there is a change. And this fertile phase, it contains ovulation. Then the fourth one is the absolute infertile phase. For a woman with short cycle, they do not have this second phase, which we refer to it as relative infertile phase. For this, for the woman with short cycle, immediately or during menstruation, they are already on a fertile window or a fertile phase. Some of them, they can even ovulate immediately after menses. That's why you say for them, they have 3 phases. Now, with the woman with long cycles, they have 4. That's why it is tricky for women with irregular or short cycle to use the calendar method. They can get or conceive at any time because of that. But with the billing method, it has ensured, it has catered for all these scenarios. Now, B.O.M has 3 main functions. Number 1, achievement of pregnancy. A research was also done on women who were previously labeled as barren, but through this research, it was found that these women, they were having small issues that they could be corrected, or through training, the women could be able to recognize their pattern and utilize it for the achievement of pregnancy. There is a whole topic about achievement of pregnancy, which in later sessions I'll be able to take you through. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel. You will be able to get all this knowledge. Then there's that postponement of pregnancy. The last one is monitoring of reproductive health. B.O.M, it helps a woman to be able to know her body, how her fertility operates through a particular pattern that a woman who has been taught will be able to know and to differentiate between abnormal pattern and normal pattern. How? We have seen through the one sign that you are talking about, mucus symptoms. Maybe I might be talking about mucus, and some of us might be asking, what is this mucus? There was a training that we were called, and we went to give talk on B.O.M. And I asked women who are there, what do you take, or the discharge that women emanate now and then? Do you know the function of it, or what is the importance of it in your body? Some, they said, for us, we see it as a sign of infection. Is something that makes us uncomfortable to the point that we do everything possible to remove them from our bodies by washing with antibiotic, etc. Some even they use panty liner just to control the discharge. But I ask them, do you know that that particular discharge, it tells you how healthy you are? And without mucus, by the way, you cannot get pregnancy. They were surprised to hear that, but now that was a fact. The mucus, it plays a great role in a woman's reproductive system. It carries a lot of information. It infers what is happening in a woman's body, that is her reproductive system. Through the B.O.M, a woman will be able to be taught on how to recognize this mucus. We have two types of mucus, that is fertile mucus and unfertile mucus. To understand it well, maybe it's important I put this question to you. How long can sperm be able to survive? Some gave an answer of like 3 days, 5 days. Some they were not sure of it. But today I want to give a definite answer regarding the lifespan of sperm in relation to the mucus. Sperm can be able to survive in fertile mucus 3 to 5 days, but it cannot be able to survive in infertile mucus for long. It will die within a short period of time. Now, one might ask, what then makes sperm to survive in fertile mucus, or what is the difference? The difference, it comes to here. With the fertile mucus, it nourishes the sperm once it has been deposited in the cervix, waiting for fertilization to occur. Secondly, fertile mucus, it provides rod network for sperm to be able to swim up to the fallopian tube. We will see the structure of the female reproductive system in our next session. A third, before the third, when a man ejaculates, how many sperms does a man ejaculate? It's obvious, thousands of them. Are all these sperms normal, viable? No. Some, they have defects. Now, where do they go with these defects? Now, it takes us to a third function, which is it locks the abnormal sperms. It prevents them from accessing the fallopian tube. The third function is to provide lubrication for the intercourse to occur smoothly. Now, these functions that I've mentioned, they were discovered through scientific research by Professor Eric Odebladi. Now, sperm also cannot survive for a very long time. It will die within a short period of time in infertile mucus. Once it is deposited, sperm will not survive because infertile mucus, it provides an conducive environment in the vagina for sperm to be able to survive. It acts opposite. It doesn't provide rod network, it doesn't nourishes all this. No, sperm cannot be able to survive because sperm is alkalinity. It cannot survive in acidity. It will eventually die. Now, with these types of mucus that I've mentioned, they are being produced in different phases. In infertile phases, it is the infertile mucus that are being produced, and in fertile mucus, it's now the fertile mucus. This one also, if you want to understand it well, we can go back and ask ourselves, that egg that a woman released through ovulation, how long can it survive? Sperm, ovum can survive for 24 hours after ovulation has occurred. Now, you can now relate it, the survival rate of sperm in fertile mucus and the survival rate of ovum, which is 24 hours. And here we're also being told that in every cycle, nearly every cycle, a woman is only fertile for 5 to 8 days, and yet the ovum can be able to survive for 24 hours. And remember, even ovulation normally occurs once in each cycle. If it survives for 24 hours. Now, what is the work of the billing method? And if you can recall, I've said Dr. John's billing, he discovered the mucus sign of ovulation as a sole indicator of combined fertility between a sole indicator for husband and wife. That's why we refer that method as Billings ovulation method. Our our concentration or our concern is the ovulation, nothing else. That's why a woman is being taught on how to recognize this sign and how to recognize ovulation accurate. Before ovulations occur, there are signs that a woman will be able to show through these mucus signs. Mucus kwa wengine we normally think is uchafu, but I hope now you have gotten the concept of this, because if you do not produce fertile mucus, what will happen? For you to get pregnant, it will be difficult. And if you don't produce, eventually for you not to ovulate, you will not be ovulating. Or if you ovulate, you will not be able to get pregnancy, because it is the functions of this fertile mucus to transport the sperms. And where does this mucus produced? They are produced by the cervix. And where does the contraceptives, especially chemicals, attack? They normally attack the cervix. That's why even through Professor Odeblade research, he discovered that every year that a woman uses contraceptives, her cervix ages by 2 years. That's why you have found some women whom they have used contraceptives, by the time that they wish to get pregnant or to quit, they found it difficult for them to get pregnant. Some they can take months, some several years, and they wonder what could have happened. It's because maybe their cervix was affected by the chemicals that affected or interfered with cervix, which produces the mucus. Now, when you're talking about fertility, fertility when you're talking about fertility, it is all about male fertility and female fertility. For male fertility, sperm productions begin at puberty until the end of life. That means throughout life, man is fertile. And for a woman, her fertility begins from puberty, and her fertility is cyclic. That means it keeps on repeating itself. And a woman, like I've said earlier, she's potential fertile for 5 to 8 days, and it declines and finished at menopause. You see, the decline of the fertility in connection with the calendar method, maybe by the time a woman is at her peak, the cycle or the menstruation cycle might be fixed and stable, regular. But as her fertility declines, some changes in her reproductive system occur, which means it can affect that pattern a woman used to know. That means ovulation can be delayed, or it can even skipped for certain months. Now, when you're talking about combined fertility, it is male and female fertility, which equals to couple fertility. Couple fertility provide the ability for a baby or for conception to occur. The Billings ovulation method teaches a woman how to recognize when in her cycle whether she is infertile, as well when she is fertile. This information, she can use it as a couple, either to achieve or to postpone pregnancy. By knowing the phases of the cycle, a woman is in control of her fertility. That's why we say Billings ovulation method is a knowledge that every woman ought to have. This is your right. When you are talking about right, this is one of the fundamental rights that a woman's need to have, knowing how your body operates. When you are under contraceptive, that means you do not know your body. Some of them, they normally tells me, I don't understand myself, because your body is under the influence of artificial family planning, that they interfere with your system. Remember, when you are taking these contraceptives, what happened to your body is like your system is being hijacked. A woman is only fertile for a short number of days in a cycle. She will ovulate only once within each cycle. If the egg which is released at ovulation is not fertilized, it can only live for a maximum of 24 hours. That one I was able to explain earlier. Now, differently from a woman, a man normally produces sperms every now and then. And for a man, is always fertile. That's why I was saying even the old man at even 90 years is still active, and is still active and can be able to produce sperms. And like a woman after maybe 45 to 50 years at menopause, she cannot conceive.
This method is easy
Now,
to learn.
the Billings
It's simple to
ovulation
use.
method
Involves no drugs or devices, and therefore there are no side effects. It's a reliable method.
now, with the Billings ovulation method, it is easy to learn, as there is nothing external that you'll use, simple to use, even an illiterate woman can use, and any woman can use despite her state or stage of a reproductive life, including those who are coming off the pill, perimenopause, breastfeeding mothers, Women with irregular and regular cycles, both of them they can use. And there is no drugs or device, thus no side effect expected, because there's nothing that you have introduced in your body. And this method, it is reliable. Its effectiveness is 99% once proper instructions are given and its rules followed faithful. This also method is morally acceptable to all cultures. For us Africans, before the introductions of artificial family planning, wazee wetu, wamama wetu, what method were they using? You find that despite that they did not have clear knowledge about B.O.M, they were able to space the number of their children based on their natural signs of fertility that their body was able to communicate. It is acceptable by all religion. Interestingly, when you are talking about natural family planning, some people they always think to some people think this method it belongs to a certain religion. I remember one time that I went to a certain training. When I was giving talk, I asked, what is natural family planning? Somebody raised their hand and said, yes, natural family planning is a Catholic way of family planning. I laughed and I told them, you are right, but not 100%. B.O.M is not affiliated to any religion. It is a purely scientific method that every woman ought to have and to be taught. Kwa hivyo, it is not affiliated. It's only that the Catholic Church embrace it. Before the before the evolution of the Billings ovulation method, that is before 1953, the only method that was known and acceptable was the calendar method. But because of its failure rate, many people started despising this calendar method. And through the power of the Almighty God and the Holy Spirit, this research came at the right time in 1953, where it empowered many women and men in spacing their children. Remember, there are also women whom they cannot use contraceptives. Where will we put them if we do not help them to learn this method, which is easy, simple, it has no side effects, and it is reliable? Now, the Billings ovulation method, it has also its requirement for its effectiveness to be achieved. Number one, accurate observation. A woman will be taught on how to observe. Now, there are two ways observation that can be made. One is through the physicals, what a woman sees under her panty when she goes to a loo.